Equinox. Get $2,750 customer cash on the new 2021 Chevrolet Blazer and get $2,250 customer cash on the new 2021 Chevrolet Trailblazer. Come on in for all the details and join the family, the Chevy family, at Carter Chevrolet, 200 West Dixon Boulevard in Shelby, online at carterchevyofshelby.com.
Only do things incredible can, cause I am the seed of a chosen breed. You don't see too many like me, cause I am one of the reasons you do what you do when you wanna be me instead of you, cause I am still on beat, showing love to the streets. Come on, you know me, cause that's who I am.
Tonight's broadcast of the Witherspoon Insurance Prep Football Pregame Show, Western North Carolina style, is what we'll be talking about. I want to thank everybody for joining us live on the radio and also live on YouTube every week. If you got the YouTube app on your phones or wherever on your smart TVs, pull us up on the big screen and watch us do what we do here. We're going to preview games in Western North Carolina. Guys, I added a bunch more games to the board this week to get you more confused as always. But I did this because it's the last week of the regular season, and we want to break down by each conference how the playoff scenarios are going to go. So I wanted to give you guys as much information as I could possible. And then we print these off, and we find out something different, and we're going to talk about that later. But anyway, this one, for right now, we're going to put to the side. But we're going to talk about each conference coming up, and also, first of all, tonight's games.
Yeah. Let's tell them who they can listen to tonight and what channels and everything they're on.
Well, yesterday we had Maiden hosting Lincoln on WLON. Maiden won 32-7, and so we already had that game. And then Shelby gets the win via forfeit to East Rutherford. And Shannon, I don't know if that's exactly how they do that, but I wrote 2-0 down. Is that an official?
Yes, that's good enough.
I read somewhere that somebody had said it's 1-0, but I'm like you, Kevin. When you forfeit, it's 2-0.
It's football.
It's like a safety.
Right, you don't get an extra point.
Yeah.
It's basically running out of the back of the end zone and losing. Let's see what they wrote.
And I think the reason, Shannon, maybe you know more details being a Shelby guy, but the question was about East Rutherford.
Yeah.
Said they had only 8 guys that showed up at practice Monday.
Oh, goodness.
Right.
Tuesday, they had 2. And other than scheduling Bessemer City, it didn't look too good.
No, I was over there Tuesday. Coach Rusty Strapp, former Gardner baseball coach, was doing their devotion. And so what they did was they practiced Tuesday morning, and then Coach Wilbanks brought them in their supper club, fed them lunch. And so all the players were sitting in the cafeteria. And he starts, I guess, telling the kids about food or about, who gave the food and everything else. He said, oh, by the way, I just got a text from or a phone call from East Rutherford and saying Coach Russell saying that they have forfeited the game.
Did he give a reason?
Well, no, he didn't. He didn't tell her right now. A couple of the coaches were saying they didn't have enough players show up Monday. And then the same thing Tuesday was just as bad. So they just hung it up. And
my understanding that's not due to COVID.
No, it's not due to COVID. I think a lot of
attitude.
I think a lot of kids were just tired and spring break, and they said we're just going to do something else.
They were 0-6 and said,
yeah, and it's still one of those things. Of course, you can go online and you can read, parents saying things about what their kids said.
I don't pay that.
You can't. You can't pay that. But it's not due to COVID. They just hung it up.
Well, and we've talked about it all year. We may see some of this next year. There's no point in Highland Tech or Bessemer City playing Shelby at any point.
Yeah.
Cherville's at least got 35 kids over there at the start of the season. They can't play them at the end. It better be week 1.
Right.
And let me say this, Kevin, to Bessemer City, I give those 16 kids or whoever it is down there a tip of the hat.
Yeah.
They don't quit.
They need more publicity for those kids and everything that they do is fun. And I'm not just saying it because it's best, but any team with under 20 people needs those need more spotlight than the kid that gets 200 yards every week. He's going to get his spotlights. The video services, the huddles, and the recruiting services. But those kids, honestly, in the 1As and stuff, like, so when Chris Mason's pitching at the school, and there was a big to do this week about taking care of the field. The field is when you hire people outside of a 1A school that aren't from there, in that that Hubert Davis situation this week, those people from the outside that might be there aren't going to take care of it the same way that someone has been there, like Coach Mahaffey for 20 years,
so to speak.
Right, and then realistically, 1A school, if you're not hiring someone that's local, you're hiring someone that's looking for a stepping stone job to something else usually. Right. So you're not going to get the maintenance. So there's a big to do about on that. And then, so what I mean by that is that these kids that are playing 2As, they need more pats on the back and spotlights and the Highland Techs than the guys that do get the love weekly. You get respect them and give them to them. But we talk about linemen a lot as always. I like that on the show. But these guys need it too, Dennis. You're completely right.
You're a former Yellow Jacket, Kevin. So just let me ask you. It seems that they can find athletes for basketball. You don't need quite as many players. They can find players for baseball. Again, not quite as many as football. Why can't they get more kids out for Bessemer City football?
Well, I would say a lot as far as this year's concerned. You got to think also, Dennis, it's down across the board. Looking across between COVID, between spring football, playing other sports, and then there's a lot of kids academically ineligible too. So if you take, say, Shelby, you've got 55 people, right? And let's say this is a big number, but let's say 10% are ineligible. That's 5 people. Well, 10% of 18 or 25 are ineligible. Now you're down to 22. Now you can barely practice. Well, if it's just 1 or 2 extra guys get it, and it's more than that, then it gets rough. Now, Dennis, as far as that goes, we've talked on the morning shows. Basketball, baseball, you can have 1 or 2 studs, especially in 1A, and get through for a while. In football, you just got to have numbers. We look at it every week. It's just a numbers game on
and
that.
A defense and offense.
Look at Thomas Jefferson and Pine Lake Prep with the numbers. They have 40, 50 kids on a roster. It's not even close. Where
I'm headed, Kevin,
yes,
and I'm asking you because you're the youngest member here, is this a generational thing based on, soccer? Are the kids playing soccer instead of playing football? I know we've had a couple of instances where the kicker didn't show up because he was having a soccer match.
You also got to have risk reward. So, we talked this matchup and why I don't want Shelby and Burners to be in this conference, because I've played in these games, is that you get out there, and so your first string and our first string is going head on. Well, if you guys got 3, 4 guys bigger, better, and faster than we do, so they're going to get hit in the face every play. So that's 40 times a kid that's smaller is getting hit in the face. And we all know the concussion and the injury things. So when that starts happening, then you can bring in second string, third string on an offense and a defense, and then the other teams is just playing both ways. It's not. I'm more concerned health wise. It used to be called Shelby-itis when you had to play Shelby as a smaller school. A lot of the schools, West Lincoln, us at Cherry Land Best, all 3 of us, even guys at Lincoln that I went to college with, all talked about, like, why go out there and risk, and for the East Rutherford guys, why am I going to, what am I, in Shannon and Dennis, you can't play football and not be all in.
Yeah.
So what am I going to stick my head into a full speed collision?
I'm 0-6.
And I'm down 0 and I'm about to get beat 50-0, or I could be at the beach this week.
Yeah.
Well, I can, with my family. So there's a lot of, it's not just one thing. There's so many factors to it that we talk a lot of times, Dennis. Some schools shouldn't play some sports or in certain areas, and or better at things that should specialize. I don't know the answers to it, but it is what it is. You guys get to win. Now, Shelby, I do got a number for you.
All
They're
right.
5-2, right?
Yep.
Good year. What's funny, but Tanner, you grab this red bag right here. Thank you, buddy. Tanner Howard's going to be reporting, getting pictures and videos with us, because we don't have good signal down at Kings Mountain. He's going to have to come up in the post-game show and load them up during the post-game show. So we'll have those highlights, Kings Mountain Crest highlights, on the post-game show tonight, not during the Red Zone. Robbie Roop is going to call in during Red Zone and give us scoring highlights and updates on what's going on during the game on his phone to keep us updated.
And there is no radio coverage of any Kings Mountain games
not
at
at
Kings
all, I
Mountain.
guess, no radio coverage at Kings Mountain at all. You have to find other ways. Now, Shelby 5-2 on the season, guys, right?
Yeah.
Now, they lost to South Point.
Yeah, conference.
What if before the season I told you that Shelby could lose to South Point in a 7-game season in conference, and the game might not mean a single thing?
Yeah, you're right.
If Burns wins tonight, that game meant nothing other than the rivalry in conference.
But here's the thing too, and we're going to get into talking about that conference and the Burns game up there. This is a key game, Shannon, because if Burns wins tonight, Burns is taking care of business. Mm-hmm. They're in as the number 2 team.
Right.
On the other hand, if Burns loses tonight, because you've got this scenario where everybody's beat everybody who's beat everybody who's beat everybody, now we go to the old, let's flip a coin. Well, how do you odd man out with 4 teams?
So here's the most up-to-date that I have, Dennis, on breaking it down. There is a way to do it without flipping it, depending on who wins tonight's games. See if you guys wrap your heads around this. Take notes. If you're in your car, take mental notes. It says a Burns win tonight will make it moot, but if Burns needs a chase win to keep Burns alive if Burns loses. A Burns loss and a South Point win puts RS Central in the playoffs by virtue of beating both RS and South Point. A chase and a RS win will result in the drawing. So Burns basically would win the 3-way tie, but no, the 4-way tie will go to a draw. Is the simplest way to put that. So a Burns loss and a South Point win puts RS in the playoffs, and a chase win and a RS win would put it into a drawing. Burns win, they're in. Is that easy enough to follow?
Burns wins, they're in.
But talk about a competitive conference, Shannon.
Oh, yeah.
Last week, Chase beat RS 50-49 in overtime.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Which set up this whole who beat who beat who beat who beat who kind of thing.
Right.
That gets into what Kevin's talking about. Playoffs.
Yeah. And the thing about this, Dennis, and Kevin, what you said as well, if you look at this conference, you got 7-team conference, but 5 of these teams right here, I really believe this. 2 of them are going to make playoffs, but the 3 that won't, or possibly 3, but let's say 3, whichever 3 they are, make the playoffs. There's going to be 2 sitting at home that are just as good, if not better, than the other 3 that make it, and
who beat one of those teams or 2 of those teams in the playoffs.
Exactly, and it wouldn't. And I'll even stand by this. You could take the state championship winner in 2A, whoever that may be, and have them face these 2 teams that didn't make playoffs, and I guarantee you these 2 teams would probably beat them. That's how good this conference is. This conference
that was my whole point of
this.
this. You know, we talk about this and we talk about that. But some of the best football in the state of North Carolina this year is played in this conference with Shelby, Burns, Chase, and RS.
Yeah, and South Point. Yeah,
and South Point, too, came on a little later.
Yeah.
They didn't start off. Go back to the first game of the season, Kevin, when South Point and Burns were playing. How big was that Burns stopping South Point going for 2 points?
Yeah. Yeah, and how, again, Burns didn't have her kicker for 3/4 of that game.
Soccer game, yeah.
Soccer game. So, yeah, I mean, it's things like that. You look at what's taking place. Burns beat South Point at South Point by 1. I think
the most important player position in that conference this year has been the kicker.
As a kicker. Yeah. Exactly right.
Every game has been. Now that you said that, so what I was going to say about Shelby. All right, get this, guys. Speaking of how close the games have been and the kickers, Shelby's 5-2. They're 14 points away from being 2-5.
Yeah.
Well, South Point thought its playoff hopes were dead, back some time ago on March 26th after they failed another 2-point conversion against RS. So that's 2 games that South Point could have won if they'd simply got the 2-point conversion or kicked and tied and went into overtime. That's how close this conference is.
Now, how bad would it be if that would have happened? Let's say South Point was your number 1 seed and Shelby's sitting there at number 2, and East Rutherford says, "Oh, we forfeit." And Shelby's now your number 2 seed. Now, how mad would that make?
Ooh,
well,
they would be Red Raiders.
Come on, it's not like they're beating them anyway.
Yeah.
But it's still losing on or winning on a forfeit. That's still a little bit different than playing.
We want to tell you the bracket breakdowns. We've got mixed messaging. I'm reading the state. It's got 4 rounds by dates. Now, if that's the case, it would seem like it would be what this paper says. But if they're splitting it, and then I don't know, we're getting mixed messages on that. So I don't know, Den, if they're gonna reduce it then all the way down to 8-4-2, because according to this, it's only gonna be 16 on each side. Yeah. Either way you read that. So we don't.
How many games do you play to get to the championship?
Right. Well, right now it says first round April 16th, second round the 23rd, regionals the 30th, and the states the 8th. So 4 is that? So that's a 16-team bracket, right?
Yep.
If I do my math right, 16, 8, 4, 2. So that means 32 teams. According to folks, what we mean. So we're reading online on athletic associations and other things. It looks like nowhere is it saying 1A and AA split, but people we've talked to on the boards and coaches tell us are going to split at 1A and 1AA. So that's the best we can tell you. And so as far as breaking it down.
But 32 teams, 16 from the East, 16 from the West.
Is what it says.
Can you find 16 good teams in the East?
Oh, well, now, Dennis, that's a
different. Reedsville's one of them. They'll put Reedsville up there if they 0-5. They'll put them in.
They're going to shift that line. Suddenly, Charlotte becomes Eastern North
Reedsville and Havelock. Those are the 2 prima donnas in the East.
I'm just trying to see what it'll say as far as that goes straight from the Athletic Association Brackets Championship.
Good luck with that.
So if they do, I mean, if there's 16 from the East and 16 from the West, and then they do big and little, big 2A or big A, excuse me, not 2A, big A and little A. So now you have 8 that are big in the West and 8 that are little in the West. Is that how it's going to be?
I'm looking at football.
Who knows?
Playoff,
but that's what I've been told.
I'm looking at football playoff revised, and it's only saying, let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. It's still only giving me a total of 32 teams roughly in the 3A in each conference. So they can't be splitting it if they're putting that many numbers and having 4 weeks. Right. If they were having 3 weeks, I was going to say they were probably doing 8 and 8. But so the math's not adding right up. Somebody's misinformed either way. Yeah. So we're just going to concentrate on what we know as far as what happened
Let's talk about tonight's games and let the chips fall where they may.
Well, I was just under the impression, was told that they weren't splitting this year in the spring, just like they didn't in basketball and baseball.
Oh, that's what I was understanding.
But so, well, we don't know. So we're going to go with this. In the out there in the Southwest, let me pull it up for the folks watching online. Folks, you want to wonder how to watch it online on Friday nights? Go to our YouTube page, KTC Broadcasting, and you can watch us live on YouTube and see our pretty faces. You've been seeing some of them for the last little bit. I got to get my sponsorships up here and block some of that there, Shannon. All right, here's the standings in the Southwest 2A. Shelby 5-1, Burns 4-1, Chase 3-2, RS 3-2, South Point 3-2, East Gaston 1-5, East Rutherford 0-6. Overall 5-2 Shelby, Burns 4-2, Chase 4-2, RS Central 4-2, South Point 4-2, 1-5, East Gaston and 0-7, East Rutherford. All right, in that conference games, let's look at those. Shelby and East Rutherford has already forfeited to Shelby. Chase at South Point, Shannon, what you got? Can the Trojans pull off the upset down in Belmont tonight?
I think it can. You know, Chase comes in there averaging 42 a game. They're giving up 23. Quarterback Caden Hampton, he's averaging 214 in the air with 12 touchdowns. Cameron Wilkins is their big running back. He's right at 100 yards on the ground each week. And they have the Coastal Carolina signee Colin Miller, their receiver, who also averages 100 yards in receiving. And Stoney Hicks and Miller also help on the defense. You know, Chase is built for a good playoff run. They've got a really good team this year. They can score some points, Dennis. They're not afraid to put numbers on the board.
Yeah.
They just have, it's like a shootout with them. They just have a hard time stopping other teams, but they find that one time.
Defense is not quite up to their offense at this point. Give them another year.
Yeah, give them another year. But but the thing is, their offense is so good they can score, whether it be 1 or 7 more. That gets them over the hump. Now South Point, they're led by Hunter Hogue, Will Reinhardt, and Cam Medlock. They're going to run that red bone down there, that option attack, and with Ryan Harris and Amari Hunt on defense. But again, just playing the numbers here. If they stay true to their averages, I think Chase can come out with a win. Granted, it's going to be close now, but I think I got Chase winning this one 29-28.
Wow.
There's going to be some weird scores in there, but I think Chase can get on there and pull the upset. But there's a lot of factors now. South Point, as you mentioned a while ago, Dennis, they were dead in the water, but now they've been given hope on that win last week, and so that's going to be a big factor.
So Shannon, you just take that dagger that's been in South Point's back this year because they lost by 3 points, and you're picking them to lose by 1.
Lost by 1.
Lose another game in the Southwest on the kick.
And their total, the total points that South Point has lost by this year is you're talking less than 1 touchdown for all their losses combined.
Right.
Well, Calvin says we got to take a break and sell some advertising.
That's right. Give us one more. Calvin, before we go to the break, when we come back, we'll break down Burns and RS Central, and we'll go over to the South Fork 2A and preview those games and those standings when we come back on the Witherspoon Insurance of Shelby KTC Sports Prep Football pregame show on YouTube, WOHS in Shelby, WLON in Lincoln, and KTCBroadcasting.com.
Since 1986, Witherspoon Insurance Agency in Shelby has been serving families across Shelby and Cleveland County. And today, Wayne Witherspoon continues the tradition of bringing you the best insurance at the best possible price. With names like The Hartford, Safeco, Progressive, National General, and Travelers. Drop by the office today at 125 North Lafayette Street in Shelby and talk with one of their friendly hometown agents. Witherspoon Insurance Agency, your independent insurance agency since 1986.
Celebrating lives and healing grieving hearts. That's the theme of the Stamey Tysinger Funeral Home and Cremation Center in Falston and the Stamey Cherryville Funeral Home on Dixie Street in Cherryville. Their staff is committed to providing your family with the highest quality care and service in your time of need. For more information, visit the websites at StameyTysingerFuneralHome.com and StameyCherryvilleFuneralHome.com, both giving you the gift of comfort for you and your family. Smiles are the specialty at Family Dentistry in Shelby. Dr. Stroud, Wilson, Thompson, and McMurray invite you in for all of your dental needs, from preventive care to cosmetic dentistry, from crowns and bridges to root canals and implants. For your appointment, call 704-482-3281 or visit the website at shelbydentist.net. Yes, smiles are the specialty at Family Dentistry in Shelby, located at 416 West Warren Street. Kids love them. Hey, and you will too.
Christian Hahn of Cherryville High School is this month's McDonald's KTC Broadcasting WhatsUpShopper.com Scholar Athlete of the Month. Christian is a senior at Cherryville High School and is the son of David and Callie Hahn. Christian plays football and baseball and has a grade point average of 4.483. His advanced courses include English, history, math, political science, and economics, and human geography. Christian is involved in the Interact Club, FCA, and a Special Olympics volunteer. He attends Anthony Grove Baptist Church and is involved in mission trips and the youth group. He also participates in service activities and volunteer work for the community. After graduation, Christian plans to attend Gaston College and obtain an associate's degree in business with a diploma in welding. The McDonald's KTC Broadcasting WhatsUpShopper.com Scholar Athlete Award is to recognize a student athlete not only for accomplishments in athletics, but also for overall achievements in the classroom and for overall school and community citizenship.
The buffet is open at Jam & Jay's Pizza in Shelby. Come in now and enjoy your favorite pizza and salad bar too. The buffet is open with your safety in mind. And you can order online by calling 704-600-6182. Jam & Jay's does residential delivery. Again, just call 704-600-6182. Just visit the website at jamandjayspizza.com. They're open Tuesday through Sunday. Again, the buffet and salad bars are open at Jam & Jay's Pizza, 1011 Grove Street in Shelby, right behind KFC. That's Jam & Jay's Pizza. All Ray Tire in Shelby and All Ray Tire in Cherryville are moving together to bring you the best deals possible on your set of new tires. Now, for a limited time, buy any set of 4 new Nitto, Toyo, Pirelli, Cooper, or Nexon passenger or light truck tires and get up to a $70 MasterCard prepaid card. Coming out for all the details. That's All Ray Tire, located at 401 East Main Street in Cherryville, and All Ray Tire at 327 West Dixon Boulevard in Shelby.
And we're back on the Witherspoon pregame show. And Kevin, can you clear up some of this mess?
Yes and no. I can read.
Good.
Step one, I can read.
And he went to Gaston County schools. That's good, Kevin.
And Watauga County schools, if you count Appalachian. So.
Oh yeah.
And we know how to pronounce Appalachian. It's not Appalachian.
Appalachian.
Yeah.
Jeez.
I hate it when those announcers come on and talk about Appalachian State or whatever it is.
The funniest ones that'll have the audacity to argue with you about it. Like, I went there. I know how it's pronounced. We have T-shirts and everything. That's the best T-shirt. Is the one with the pronunciation. Yeah, it's not Appalachian. All right, here we go. See if you can follow along. This is there's three columns. This is draw procedures. Once 16 teams are determined in each region, the Athletic Association staff will utilize this predetermined draw procedure to set the finalized bracket. Draws for the line placement of berths will occur. Apparently, I can't read because this don't make any English sense. Draws for the line placement of berths will occur in random order. All number 1 will be drawn first, followed by 2s, followed by any 3s and wildcard teams. So we knew that.
Conference champions.
Right. Whenever possible, competition between conference opponents in the first round will be avoided. This may require the removal of a line placement draw possibility for a given team. This is under the second section, sport adjustments, whatever this means. Automatic berths listed on this document are based upon the premise that all teams in the conference are participating in a given sport. Each bracketed sport will have varying automatic berths per conference based on the following formula. 1 to 6 gets 1 berth, 7 and 8 gets 2, 9 plus gets 3. Football subdivisions. This is the question. Subdivisions. Now here's where the math still don't add up. This is why I said I can read it, but I don't know if it clears it up. Subdivisions of classifications will be used for the 2020-21 football playoffs. Berths so that says they will be. 1A, 1AA, and all that. Berths will be awarded based on the procedure indicated in the previous column prior to the subdivision of teams. So berths first, then they'll split if you understand what I mean. Yeah, so playoff berths first. Jeez, I can't get through that.
Berths first.
Berths first, playoff berths first. And then split the subdivisions. Once the 16 teams in each classification's region are finalized, then schools will split into 2 distinct subdivisions based on the ADMs of the school. Each subdivision will have 16 total teams, 8 East, 8 West, with teams placed on lines based on conference finish.
Well, Kevin, based on what information you've just read.
Okay. Did you follow along? I don't know if I could, and I was reading it.
Having read some legislative jargon in the past.
That's fun.
I'm going to translate this.
I hated those classes.
I'm not an attorney, but I have played one in the legislature. They're saying there's 8 teams, so they're going to be a big and a little. Okay, but if 4. You got 8 teams.
That's only 3 weeks.
That's only 3 weeks.
Yeah, the schedule clearly says 4.
And therein lies the point. Are they going to throw in some kind of wild card deal for that, make an extra week? Or are we just going to play, as I thought, 3 weeks?
Well, my wild cards are based on 16. Let's with everything that we read, Dennis says they're going subdivisions. It's going to be 8 and 8.
Yeah.
So let's go with that and not worry about the non-sub after that. So we can still read this right and say who's getting in.
But if you've only got 8
and
teams,
then leave it up to the athletic association.
8 teams in the big,
right,
and 8 teams in the little,
right.
There's more conferences than that, Kevin.
Well, here's the conference breakdown. Let's start by let's finish up this. Now that we've got organized, folks, at the end of the show, we're going to do that. Let's get through our conferences, and then we'll do that, Dennis, because I think we've got it nailed down. I've got each one listed who will be in. You were asking about our third seeds. Reading on this, just a quick synopsis as we go through these conferences to give you an idea. In the 3A, there will be 4 wild cards, okay? In the 2A, there will be 1 wild card.
Wow.
1.
Right now, an undefeated Mount Pleasant is against Mount West Stanley, and their conferences are in line to get that 1 wild card. In fact, if that's 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23, South Chase, RS Central, and RS are in the 23rd spot out of 16, according to this. Wow. If that's how they're going to play, if they play that out. So, or the 19th. They list this weird. So it's either 19 or 16. They're still not next in line is what I'm saying. All right, and then finally in the 1A, there's a bunch of wild cards in the 1A. 6 wild cards in the 1A, so we could get a third team. No, the Southern Piedmont gets a third team because they've got 9 teams.
Yeah.
Or 10 teams. So Community School of Davidson right now is in the 3rd spot. They'll get that automatic bid. That means they could get a 4th team this year, and right now it's listed as Bishop McGinnis or Christ the King, and it doesn't have Cherryville or Bessemer as being able to get in there. So that's it. So now let's go back to Burns at RS Central's on WHS tonight. Playoff implications. We talked about a little bit about it earlier. Shannon, who you got tonight? Hilltoppers hosting the Bulldogs.
So Burns traveling up to RS. Burns coming off a loss last week. Well, both teams coming off big losses last week. Burns getting defeated by Crest. Led by Cameron Sweezy. He's averaging 116 yards in the air. They've got 2 running backs. Lamont Wilson, right at 100 yards, and freshman Jeremiah Norris. They are leading the ground attack for the Bulldogs. Defensively, led by conference leader in tackles Silas Tate, not Tyler Sate.
There you go.
Silas Tate. Zari Brown.
He had a big
Haynes,
play last week, right? Didn't he get
he got interception. Pick 6.
It was a pick six, right?
Yeah. Corey Haynes and Dorian Starnes. Now, RS Central, coming off that overtime loss against Chase, they're averaging 41 a game, giving up 29 a game. They're led by Ken Hines III. He's averaging over 100 yards per game. Then they also have Jaden Costin, who has 10 touchdowns, and Tyler Logan leading that 3-head attack. Defensively, John Henry Norris and Jaden Hooper lead them leading them on the defensive front. This game, Dennis, I believe there's a lot of, we've already mentioned, people know this. This is probably one of the bigger games in the state, if not the biggest game, playoff implication wise.
Right.
And so I think, I'm a hometown guy. I'm going with Burns. I'm going to go up to RS Central, and it's going to be close. Now I got them winning 30-28. I think they'll come up here and pull off the win.
Shannon, for what it's worth, I concur with you. I'm going to be a Burns homer.
Yeah.
The reason being, Norris and Wilson have combined for more than 700 yards between them this year, so they've got a little bit of a running attack too. It depends on how well the quarterback is, his injury situation, but they've got a sophomore Mooney that's been throwing the ball pretty well too. So, is it Burns' balance in both passing and running that beats RS, who seems to be more or less just a running team, although they've got 3 running backs that have gained large amounts of yardage? This is Burns' season. Yeah. It comes down to win and go on, or lose and go home.
Exactly. Yeah, last week Crest exploited their line play. Crest was just so big and physical up front, and Burns is going to face that again tonight with RS Central. They have a big physical offensive line as well. But you mentioned about Sweezy and his injury. If people talk about quarterback and wants to throw, but Cameron, he can hurt you with his legs too.
Yeah,
he can run, and so that's they're going to implement that tonight, obviously, but. It's going to be a great ball game nonetheless up there up in Spindale.
Well, for those 2 teams, it's a game that really matters.
Yeah.
I'm thinking it matters more for Burns.
Yeah.
And that's either going to make them play really, really good, or it's going to tighten up some of those old sphincter muscles a little bit. We'll see. Tune in for the post-game show.
All right, so what'd you go with, Dennis?
I went with Burns.
Did you say a score?
I did not say a
Do you want
score.
to say a score?
Burns by 6, whatever the score is.
We'll go. Let's see, 8-2.
No.
11-5.
Try more like 34-28.
Let's go with that. I like that one. Put him on the spot.
Yeah.
All right. I was about to say, will they win by more than Shelby won by this week? That's the question. All right. There's the South Fork 2A. Let's go. Southwestern 2A. Let's go over the South Fork 2A. I'm gonna pull up their standings in just a moment as we talk about them a little bit. Last night we had Maiden defeat Lincoln, and they move up. They were already first place in the standings, so they didn't have to. They don't move anywhere or go anywhere. They had already had that spot locked up. Lincoln on the season falls to 1-5 overall, 1-5 in the conference as well to end their season. But
they did
Wolves.
play. They did play.
Yeah, they played. They showed up.
Credit to Lincoln Wolves.
Mm-hmm. Now let's see let me get these games set up. Now the other games. Here's another as far as will play and credit to the Lincoln Wolves. West Lincoln clinched the 2 spot this week. Okay.
Oh, okay.
Last week against East Lincoln in overtime, broadcast live on WLON. We also had replays, folks, highlights and scores from that. Jason Sane was there. If you go to KTC Broadcasting on Twitter, at What's Up Shopper on Twitter, we do the scores every Friday nights. Hashtag KTC Scores, hashtag KTC Sports. They play at Cherokee tonight.
Yeah.
Out of conference. They didn't have to. And they, according to, I don't know if you've ever seen them, Shannon. You may have. I don't think Dennis has. So on Twitter, have you ever seen the Civil War soldiers talk? Fans that pretend they're Civil War soldiers accounts. Have you ever seen these guys? Okay, so for example, I'll pull one up the one from them.
Terry Reinhardt's not one of those.
This may be him. That's what's funny about it. It may be him, and we just don't know. So one of them, for example, when Andrew Luck was playing, right? So somebody created a Twitter account, about Andrew, and they put him in a Civil War or Revolutionary War outfit. And basically it was him talking about the games, but like he was writing from the war back to his loved ones. Like, the Colts, instead of saying the Colts, he would name them some kind of the horses or, the horses were good this week against the Pirates from Oakland. And he would just write like this. Right. We're on the forefront. So that was one of the things this week of West Lincoln. The guys, they got a guy over there that does that. It's kind of funny. And
so they're creative.
This guy, I'm trying. I'll find it in a minute. But anyway,
they're going to be very creative up at Cherokee tonight because Cherokee is not very good.
No.
They've got a fantastic field to play on. Though.
Oh, they have.
So if you're Wesley,
your
parents,
tax dollars
you're like,
at work.
You're like, let's go play up at the AstroTurf,
and maybe we can stop by the casino on the way back.
Kids, you have a nice, safe trip.
Yeah, I wonder how many parents are going to stay up there.
Coach you up. Well, but you know what, Shannon? That's when the players go, stay up there.
Yeah.
We got plenty of room in Western Lincoln County for a bonfire. Right. You stay up there. We'll rally around.
We're going to have our pregame meal over.
I'm not saying there's going to be some parties in the Western Lincoln part of the town of the county tonight. Win or lose, but they're going to have a good time tonight over on that side. So anyway, they go up to Cherokee. Who you got on that one?
Well, again, Dennis, you mentioned their record. Cherokee's 2-4 out of the Smoky Mountain 1A conference. Their playoffs hopes are diminished. They're not going anywhere. Now West Lincoln, though, they've been a surprise this year. That's one team that I really didn't believe would make any noise whatsoever. But with that big win last week, that's propelled them. It has to have propelled them getting ready for playoff mode. So, but they're coming in, averaging 21 a game, giving up 13. Mason Hewitt, who I found out is Shelby's quarterback. That's his cousin. Yeah. Found that out this week. It's pretty cool. But Mason Hewitt leads their offense with Grayson Barkley. And on defense, Curtis Goins and Mason Avery. This game, I think it'll be a close game. It'll be competitive. West Lincoln's not going to blow you out. They're not going to beat teams by a big margin. I think they'll go up there tonight and win at Cherokee 26-20. and that may be too generous for giving Cherokee 20 points, but it's not. But I think West Lincoln, again, they're not going to score 40. They're just going to score just enough to beat you, and I think they'll go up there for the win tonight.
Well, I'm going to say West Lincoln, and I think their defense is better than giving up 20 points.
Yeah.
I'm thinking more along the lines of maybe 9 points, like 3 field goals. Yeah. And I think West Lincoln's running game may be too much for the Braves. Yeah. And so as a result, I think they're going to have like 28. Okay. So maybe 28-9, somewhere in that category. They're going to win comfortably. They're not going to embarrass Cherokee. And the clock will be running so they can get over to the casino a little bit after the game.
I don't know. They might win 50-0 tonight.
They might. They just might like to.
I doubt they take the cannon up there, Shannon. What do you think? No cannon up there. All right. Also tonight, Newton Conover up at East Lincoln. Newton's 2-3. East Lincoln's 4-2 in the conference. Overall 3-2 in the conference. Newton Conover is 2-3 overall and in the conference. East has scored 192, gave up 150. Newton 105, gave up 117. Shannon, Red Devils and Mustangs tonight. Jason Sane will be up there doing Twitter scores tonight for us. So we'll have some highlights from that game on the Red Zone and on the postgame show.
So, looking at these conferences, or looking at the records of these conferences, East Lincoln's sitting there in third place. Will they have a shot to get? They don't.
According to this, they got the same as Bandy's and RS. There's like a couple of conferences that are ahead of them apparently, according to the hierarchy. Right. Whoever makes that hierarchy.
Yeah. That
so my answer to you, Shannon, is probably not.
Okay.
In a normal year, maybe, but with the shortened playoffs, no.
Okay. Well, both of these, they come in.
They're either third in line or sixth in line based on however you read this.
Okay.
If I let
in the conference, they're third and fourth. North Lincoln comes in, Newton Conover comes in with a 2-3 record. Justice Craig, their quarterback, averaging 107 yards in the air, but they have a dynamic running back named Alan Shade, who's getting right under 200 yards on the ground with 13 touchdowns. That's what he's averaging, or 200 yards he's averaging per week. Defensively, Xavier Coulter and Ben Watson lead Newton Conover. East Lincoln comes in. They're scoring 32 points a game and giving up 25. Their sophomore quarterback, Tyler Mizell, he leads the Mustangs with 179 yards in the air with 14 touchdowns. And running back Paulie Menegay, he's averaging 90 yards on the ground with 7 touchdowns. This is when I look at these two teams, especially with Newton Conover, they were going to be so good this year. But they had a couple guys leave in December to go to college.
Yeah.
They didn't want to go. They didn't want to wait to play. And so that put a big wrinkle in a packed system at Newton Conover. So they've made the best of what they had. This game tonight is kind of hard to judge since really nothing's at stake. You just want to finish strong, get ready for the fall for sure, for certainly. But I think East Lincoln bounces back with the win. They're playing at home. I've got them winning 27-24. It'll be a close game, but I think Shade's going to get his yardage. But I think East Lincoln's going to be just a little bit too much for them.
I think I agree with you that East Lincoln has a little more gas left in the tank.
Yeah.
And Newton Conover, while they're not going to throw up their hands and quit like some teams might, it's a pride factor. I think that East Lincoln, numbers-wise and offensive-wise, is going to be able to pull out a win tonight over the Newton Conover Red Devils.
Yeah, and losing the way they did last week, if they had seniors on the team, I think that would make it. I'd say, Newton Conover's probably going to win because the seniors probably say, okay, we're done. We're just going to pack it up. But they got a sophomore quarterback, and so they're building him, getting ready for the fall. Probably a lot of that team are younger players anyway. So I think this is that's why I got East Lincoln. I think they'll win this game.
And this is not the old Don Patrick Newton Conover teams. He's old school from Pearly Allen, and until they drag the last dead man off the field, we're not giving up. So I think it may, if East Lincoln can get ahead and get a little bit of a comfortable lead, Newton Conover's not going to give up, but they may not play with their heart as full as they would have if it meant something, as you pointed out. Right. Okay, Kevin.
Well, I missed one. Who else we got? Bandy's tonight is at North Lincoln. That will be our WLON game of the week. The Trojans at the Knights. Bandies scored 100, gave up 112. North Lincoln scored 153, gave up 125. North Lincoln last year, fantastic year, almost made state championship, and they come so close, losing against Burns there at home. But this year, not going to be in the playoffs. They host Bandies tonight on WLN. Matt Chapman and Logan Baker will have that, along with Twitter highlights from Peyton Warlick. So Peyton will be out there taking care of that. So we'll have highlights of that game as well, guys. So Shannon, North Lincoln, they going to handle business at home tonight?
Yeah, I think, are they playing at home or at Bandies?
I've got Bandies at North.
Okay, so
well, this has got North at Bandies.
Yeah, that's why I was looking.
Oh, that's not good.
Anyway, so make sure they know where they're going.
Well, yeah.
So anyway, North Lincoln comes in averaging 26, giving up 21. Their quarterback Kyle Kovacic and Brendan Rogers, their running back, lead the offensive attack. Daniel Carter and Sam Wilkins lead them defensively. Bandies, now they were sitting there, Dennis, at 1-4, but you look at their averages. They're averaging 20 a game and giving up 22 a game. That's a close margin. It makes you wonder, okay, were they in the type of games like we mentioned about South Point? Were they in close ball games? I know some of them weren't, but they did have some close games with some other teams. But their quarterback Trey Shearer and their running back Isaiah Gilchrist have been helping or leading Bandies this year. Tariq Bumgarner is leading them on defense. But North Lincoln, with what all they lost last year, they're sitting there at 2-3 in the conference, and overall, I think they're right where we thought they were going to be. And obviously, this is a young team. They're going to be a lot better in the fall.
Yeah.
And so I think they'll come in tonight, wherever they're playing, wherever they're figuring this out. But I think they'll win. I got it a close game at 24-21. But again, are these teams, have any of them packed it up and said, you know what, player wise, so we just don't care. You hope that's
season.
not. Yeah, it's baseball season, and it's spring break. We want to go to the beach, as Kevin mentioned a while ago. I hope not, but because you still want to finish strong for those seniors in their last.
We're not going to the playoffs. Let's go to the beach.
Yeah.
I think the team I have been disappointed in this year has been North Lincoln, based on last year. Now, last year didn't have anything to do with this year, other than you were expecting that they had gotten to that next level. But it's been a crazy year.
Yeah.
And early in the year, when they got beat, I think it affected them. Oh, wait a minute. We're not like we were last year.
Right.
This is going to be a scratch and claw your way year. And based on their ease in winning previously, I think they had to do it. And this team, if they're considering this spring practice, they'll be out there fighting tooth and nail tonight.
Right.
Tonight's game will tell you more about what North Lincoln's going to be in the fall.
Yeah.
But I think North Lincoln is going to win tonight. And I think Calvin's signaling we better take a break. So we'll be right back after a word from our sponsors on the Witherspoon Insurance pregame show. Take it away,
Since
Calvin.
1986, Witherspoon Insurance Agency in Shelby has been serving families across Shelby and Cleveland County. And today, Wayne Witherspoon continues the tradition of bringing you the best insurance at the best possible price. With names like The Hartford, Safeco, Progressive, National General, and Travelers. Drop by the office today at 125 North Lafayette Street in Shelby and talk with one of their friendly hometown agents. Witherspoon Insurance Agency, your independent insurance agency since 1986. It's time to tee it up at Kings Mountain Country Club, open to the public 7 days a week. Play and ride 18 holes Monday through Friday for $28. Play and ride 18 holes on weekends for $40. And seniors 55 and older can play and ride Monday through Friday for just $24. For your tee time, call 704-739-5871 for the Kings Mountain Country Club, 100 Country Club Drive in Kings Mountain.
There's new merchandise each and every week arriving at Jumpin' Jed's in downtown Falston. It's a store you've got to see. Just arrived Urban's Tinware, including beautiful punch tin fireside lamps and Tarte candle warmers. Jumpin' Jed's also has rustic lighted houses from 12 inches to 6 feet tall, plus primitive furniture, Billy Jacobs prints, country decor, and more. Jumpin' Jeds, open Tuesday through Friday 10 to 6, Saturdays 9 to 3. Call 704-312-65113. The new Jumpin' Jeds, downtown Boston, right across from the old Stamey store. Like them on Facebook too. What can you find at Shelby Meat and Produce? Just about everything, and now they carry cigarettes too. You'll find whole pork tenderloin, baby back ribs, chicken, real crab legs with the cluster, plus 5-pound boxes of New York strips, ribeyes, hamburger, country-style pork chops, along with fish, including baby perch, flounder, and shrimp, plus produce too. And they have those school pizzas. Come see them today. Shelby Meat and Produce, located at 602 South Lafayette Street in Shelby.
If you play golf, then listen up. The best greens in the Carolinas are right here in our area at the Riverbend YMCA Golf Course. Phil Wallace and Russell Spangler invite you over to play. You can play and ride 18 holes Monday through Friday for $29 and after 2 p.m. for $25. Play and ride weekends for $39 and after 2 p.m. for $29. Seniors ride and play Monday through Friday for $25. Make your tee time by calling 704-482-4286 or book online at riverbendymcagolfcourse.com. Come and play today.
Purchasing a tractor is a big decision. Worrying about keeping it running shouldn't be. James River delivers peace of mind with an industry-leading 10-year warranty. Available with the purchase of any new John Deere 1 through 5 Series tractor with absolutely no buy-in cost required. Visit jamesriverequipment.com/10-year warranty. Valid with purchase of new John Deere 1 through 5 Series tractor. Some restrictions may apply. See dealer for details. James River delivers affordable quality and a 10-year warranty.
Springtime, Charlotte, and does Rhino Shield do your business? Just ask Mike.
I was watching TV one night and saw the Rhino Shield ad, and I thought, well, if they can do a house, they can probably do a building.
And Rhino Shield's not paint, it's better.
So they came out and they gave me a price, showed me how the Rhino works, how it lasts, and how the guarantee works.
In Charlotte, you too can get the guaranteed protection of Rhino Shield for 15% off the regular price.
They waited for us to leave, and they worked Saturday and Sunday so they wouldn't affect our business at all. This was the great part of it. I came back Sunday night, and you couldn't even tell they were here. There was no paint on the ground. They did a fantastic job.
Here's owner Dan Hoey.
This offer is limited, so call us today at 704-597-4141 or visit us online at rhinoshieldcarolina.com. Don't paint.
Don't vinyl.
Go Rhino.
Don't paint. Don't vinyl. Go Rhino Shield. Never paint your house again. Rhino Shield.
Spring has arrived at Shelby Hardware. Coming out for spring specials like 50-foot Pro garden hose for $24.99. Check out the line of Echo blowers, trimmers, and chainsaws. Look cool and protect your eyes with a pair of polarized sunglasses. Get your Lodge cookware for those camping trips. See their spring flags. Lawn spreaders are $119, plus wheelbarrows and garden carts too. Shelby Hardware, 506 South Lafayette Street in Shelby. Online at shelbyhardwareandsupply.com and see their page at whatsupshopper.com.
Hi, this is Woody Durham for Mark Dedman's Carolina Trophies in Shelby. Through the years, I've seen a lot of trophies and plaques, and none appear nicer than those which come from Mark Dedman's Carolina Trophies. Their guarantee is not just a guarantee, but a promise for courteous service, the absolute lowest price, quality products, on-time delivery, and most of all, your satisfaction. Awards for all occasions, plus rubber stamps and engraving. That's Mark Dedman's Carolina Trophies in Shelby.
Online at carolinatrophies.com.
What's next?
Code 12, flickering lights.
What if it's a ghost this time? Please enter. Definitely a ghost.
I've seen malarkey like this before. Classic bad wiring.
We got this. Thank you.
See, Pete, no ghosts.
Oh, no, this place is totally haunted.
See, Jane? You don't have to put up with any malarkey. Call 888-8-SPARKY.
From Shelby, turn off Highway 74 at Highway 226, up Highway 226 to the caution light at Zion Church Road. There on the corner is Kibo's. Been there for over 20 years. Kibo's, where you'll find Hunt Brothers Pizza, snacks, candy, chips, also soft drinks, hand-dipped and packaged ice cream, bread, tobacco products, and much more. Yes, that's Kibo's. And don't forget to fill that vehicle up with gasoline at Kibo's, 226 North at the caution light in Shelby.
Hey, and welcome back to the Witherspoon pregame show. Shannon, this is where I wish Kevin would put on that big gorilla suit and come in the room, because it's about time we talked about that 800-pound gorilla in the room that we hadn't talked about. I'm talking about Kings Mountain and Crest tonight. And I've got a little background here that I want to throw out there. This is only the fourth time in the history of football in this area that we've had two county schools that have clashed unbeaten for the championship. Mm-hmm. Now, that's a long time.
It is a long time.
Yeah. In 1966, you may be too young for this.
Yeah, a little bit.
Steve Curtis, who was superintendent of Shelby Schools at one time, was coaching football up at East High School.
East Rutherford.
Yeah. And he had a quarterback named Lewis Jolly and a Shrine Bowl running back named Gary Dodson, who later I worked with, coached over at Crest. And it was a smash mouth competition. East Rutherford won 28-7. And the Cavaliers lost the next week in the first round of the Western North Carolina. At that time, we didn't have the state champion. We had a Western North Carolina. And they lost in the first round to South Point. And South Point had 9-1 overall record. In 1977, Shelby, their first year under Jim Taylor, led by Anthony Weber, had a 42-7 win at South Point. Now, that was amazing back at that point. And South Point had a 9-1 record. That was a big rivalry between Shelby and South Point back in the day. That's when Jim Biggerstaff was there. In 2011, South Point, or 2015, Crest outlasted Shelby 40-33 in an unexpected offensive shootout between two unbeaten teams, and both would eventually win state titles. Shelby got a championship, Crest got a championship. In 2011, South Point won 42-21 over Crest to take the Big South Conference title, but South Point was upset the following week by Weddington, while Crest would advance to the state championship game. They didn't win it. In 2012, South Point won again 42-24 in regular season finale at Crest, then eliminated Crest 2 weeks later. You probably remember, it's a bad dream for Crest folks, a guy by the name of Tyler Bray. And he set a then Gaston County record for single game rushing with 381 yards. He had a good night. But Kings Mountain did not play in a conference championship game in its regular season finale. But in 1956, in the old Southwestern Conference, there's a school up in Forest City, right where you go to McNair Field, Kevin, where you broadcast the Yeti game, that was called Cool Springs. And Cool Springs and Kings Mountain played in 1956 for the conference championship. They ended in a tie, 7-7. They played again the next week, and Cool Springs beat them, and then went on to play up at Lenore-Ryan in the game, and Valdez beat Cool Springs. The interesting thing about this, I call it the Petroleum Bowl. The Kings Mountain quarterback at that time was a fellow by the name of Harris, Ollie Harris's son. And he went out to Texas and made quite a bit of money in the petroleum business. And the quarterback for the Cool Springs High School was a fellow named Bob McNair, where you broadcast from McNair Field up there. He went out to Texas and made quite a bit of money in the petroleum industry and ended up owning a semi-pro football team called the Texans.
Right. Hey, you know, that his stadium, you know, is one of the most famous stadiums in the world because, you know, that's where Justin Timberlake ripped off Janet Jackson's top.
There you go.
So Bob McNair, that's what he's saying. If it wasn't for Bob McNair, local Cool Springs kid, we wouldn't have had Justin Timberlake ripping off Janet Jackson's top. So I connected the dots for you, Dennis. I knew that's where you were going.
There you go. That's where I was going, to Janet Jackson. Anyway.
Mom and Dad were there.
Really?
But Dad was in the popcorn line when it happened.
That figures. I can see your mama covering his eyes anyway, but I've met Bob McNair. He was a nice guy. He's dead now, and so are the Texans.
Yeah. Well,
anyway, I thought that was a little bit of history with two guys playing in a local football game in 1956, went on to become wealthy gentlemen in the petroleum industry in Texas, one owning a football team, and the other one, I guess he owned a funeral home. Anyway, long story short, let's talk about Kings Mountain and Crest.
How do you get the petroleum industry? You know, it's not just cheap. You just go buy an oil rig. It used to be you just run out in the backyard and shoot a hole in the ground like Jed Clampett, but now I don't know what you do.
Well, if you're smart,
you just go, hey, I just want to go get in the oil.
If you're a
business.
smart guy, you buy leases on property.
Yeah.
And then you put that old drill hole in the ground, and you put that little pump. It goes thumpity thump, thumpity thump.
So my shotgun wouldn't work.
You know, you're not Jed Clampett. Jethro maybe, but not Jed. Anyway, let's talk about Kings Mountain and Crest in football tonight. Both undefeated teams. Conference championship on the line. Now, both these teams are going to make the playoffs. Kevin went through all the scenarios. Both these teams will be in the playoffs, win or lose. However, of all the schools in Cleveland County, Shannon, guess one which has never won a state championship?
Kings Mountain.
Yeah, you are correct. And they would love to win a state championship. But they've run into a couple of road bumps along the way. Catholic, Weddington, Crest. And so they've never gotten to that particular level. Some would say this is the year, even though Pacehour left early, went to Gaffney and played. He's down in spring practice at Chapel Hill. But they're still pretty good.
Yeah, they're not bad.
I'd like to get your take on the Kings Mountain team, and then I'll stay out of it and let you comment on the Crest team. So, Shannon, fire away.
So, looking at these two teams, they both come in. They're very similar when you look at their points for and their points against. Kings Mountain's averaging 41 points a game, and Crest is averaging 40 points a game. Crest is giving up 11. Kings Mountain is giving up 8. And so they're very good at what they do, and they're very similar at what they do. Crest comes in led by Timmy Ruff. He's their their go-to guy, their main guy on offense. He's averaging 71 yards passing in the air with 7 touchdowns, and he's also averaging 123 yards on the ground with 10 touchdowns. So 17 touchdowns by that young man alone. Also, they had an injury at quarterback a couple weeks ago, so some people stepped up. Caleb Borders, Nasir Downs, and Mahari Adams stepped in last week at running back and did a great job for the Chargers, and at leading at receiver and also at running back position. And so defensively, though, Crest, along with Downs, they have Amari Adams. They have Nick Beeson, Malachi McKinney, Carter Green, C.J. Ross, and Eli Hall. Those guys right there, they are very good at what they do on the defensive side.
Now,
of the
they're
ball.
without Wesson.
Eli Wesson, yeah.
Injured.
He's
He
injured.
just signed with Gardner Webb, though.
He did.
So
He did.
He was
signed
a
with Gardner
quality
Webb.
player, but he is, had some surgery and is not going to be playing tonight, along with Fuller, the former quarterback. So we've slipped back in there, T.J. Ruff. Now, last year, Crest won this game by a score of 40-34. So, like you said, it's a close contest. Ruff broke off a 71-yard touchdown run against Kings Mountain. As a matter of fact, Kings Mountain has allowed runs of 75, 71, 30, and 60 yards for score. So the vaulted Kings Mountain defense does have some holes in it.
Yeah.
Ruff is the kind of quick kid that can exploit some of that. Crest has some problems with various things. Teams move up and down the field on them pretty good, but their defense is pretty decent. Their offense, Borders, I think, against Burns had, 3 touchdowns? Yeah. They're pretty prolific in scoring, too. This is going to be a shootout, is what I'm getting around to.
Oh, yeah, it will be.
They're both good defensive teams, but they're both good offensive teams. And they have ways to exploit that. Now, Greg Lloyd loves the big play. What do you see coming from Kings Mountain in terms of big plays on the offense?
Well, the big play, it all starts with their quarterback, Ethan Reed. He's averaging 131 yards in the air with 8 touchdowns. He's going to Appalachia next year. He's already signed with them. But their bread and butter this year has not been on the receiving core. I think it's in their running back positions. Rashard Brooks, he has 7 touchdowns, and they have a young man, a senior by the name of Jalen Mims, who came in the Shelby game and, to me, came out of nowhere.
Yeah.
He really stepped up his game, and he's been playing well since then. He has 5 touchdowns on the season. And so offensively, I don't think Kings Mountain is as dangerous for the big strike play in the air like they were last year.
Yeah, it's the short passes.
Right.
And that's what Crest seems to defend the best is those little screen passes and the short passes. Can Reed get the ball over their head and to some of those streaking receivers? He doesn't have pace hour.
Right.
But can he hit the deep ball?
Well, see, that's the thing. I think with as good as they are running the ball, I think, Crest needs to be careful. Whoever Kings Mountain is playing, be careful, because if they start bringing guys up, Reed does have the arm and the capability to beat you deep. All he has to do is just throw it. If you come up, just throw it, just auto out and throw it deep. So the Kings Mountain is very good at that. Because Reed can sling the ball and he can get it down the field. But defensively, Kings Mountain, as good as Crest is, Kings Mountain's just as good. They have A.J. Richardson, Javari Rice-Wilson, who I think is a very underrated player in this area. I think he's very good at what he does. Day Wilson, who's their linebacker, going to Missouri. And they have a kid named Trey Crawford. You mentioned about the big plays on the running game, the yardage they've given up. I've only seen one. That was with the Omar Phillips from Shelby, broke one on them, I think 70-something yards for a touchdown. I look at that. Yeah, there's holes there, but I think it maybe they're so aggressive up front.
Yeah,
they're trying to get, and they're not paying attention. The running back's running right by them.
Oh, and their front four is
their front four is stacked. Yeah, their front four is good.
As a matter of fact, they've only had one team to score in double digits on.
Yeah, and that's the we've talked about the big play, the big names of each school, and rightfully so. But Dennis, I believe that what it's going to come down to, you're going to see the Crest offensive line and that Kings Mountain defensive line get slapped after it tonight. And and it's also, you're going to see the Kings Mountain offensive line and the Crest defense. That's where your game's going to be won.
In the trenches.
In the trenches. And that's going to be, if you like line play.
Are you ready to rumble?
Yeah, absolutely. If you like watching linemen play tonight, this is the game. Both offensive and defensive from both teams are very good, very strong, and very big. And it's going to be a great game, and it's going to be a close game. I don't want to say who's going to win because they're both two local schools, but I think it's going to. I think the winner will win by 2. Let me put it that way.
Well,
you're just worthless.
No, I'm not.
Let's talk about the Crest side for just a moment. Obviously, when Fuller, the quarterback, went out, we replaced the Corvette with a Ferrari.
Yeah. Well, yeah, you put the ball now in your playmaker's hands every single play.
Yeah, and he is explosive, dynamite, Division I type caliber player. Not the biggest kid, but fast, quick, elusive, and he knows where the end zone is. But then Caleb Borders coming in off the basketball team. I remember his dad, back years ago, who was a receiver at Crest and at Chapel Hill. He has come on as a receiver. He is quick, elusive, can get that bomb for you. And then, speaking of the basketball team, they got this kid, Mari Adams.
Mm-hmm.
And while he can make some threes, evidently he can run the football too.
Yeah.
He's just a junior. So there you've got a backfield. If you're Kings Mountain with those big boys getting ready to rumble up front, all they need is a little crack.
Right.
And, the quarterback can take it on a keeper. If you're covering him, he can dump it off to Borders down the field. Green has been playing well and receiving the ball. You've got Adams coming in there now to, take a little relief off of him. So Crest offense can be explosive too. Can Kings Mountain shut them down? The Crest offensive line and defensive line. I remember a few years back when Crest was struggling, and they weren't necessarily winning the Crest football way. But then you looked out on the field, and you had a bunch of courageous young men out there, probably about 155, 60 pounds, that were playing offensive line.
Yeah.
And they wasn't slowing down nothing.
Yeah. Oh, absolutely.
They were doing the best they could. You had to have some bodies. And we kept saying, well, there's some kids over at the middle school that will be here in a few years.
Yeah.
And sure enough, that's just like, Kings Mountain's had a good JV team. They beat Crest last night in the JV levels. Burns has got some good kids on the JV team. RS Central, Chase, all these programs are coming because sometimes you can look at the teams in those middle school and you can tell what's coming down the line. And let's throw Shelby in there because Steve Degree keeps telling me how good the middle school football team is.
Yeah, they're good. Yeah, they're really
so
good.
It looks like we're going to continue this tradition. But getting back to tonight, you say the winner is going to win by 2.
Yeah.
Now, who is that going to be?
I don't
They're
know.
playing at Kings Mountain.
See, on
AstroTurf.
Right. And see, that's the thing. It's like, well, they're playing at Kings Mountain. Kings Mountain's tough at home, but they're playing on AstroTurf. I believe Crest is probably the quicker team. I think Kings Mountain's maybe the more, I don't want to say physical team, but
stronger team.
I don't think they're stronger. They may be more physical. I don't know. This is going to be, I don't know. I don't know who's going to. I can't pick a winner in this one. This was a tough game, and the thing is, Dennis, even win or lose, whoever's going to be a 1 and 2, can you imagine the loser now as a 2 seed, Crest or Kings Mountain?
Do you want to see him?
Good night. Can you
either
imagine
Kings
that?
Mountain or Crest coming in? You're conference champion in the Tadpole League,
exactly.
And you got Kings Mountain or Crest coming in, Kevin. That's not going to be pretty.
Here's the thing.
Yeah.
Looking at the way they've split these, and I'm over here doing fuzzy math.
Okay.
Crest and Kings Mountain would both be in the small 3A.
Yep.
Okay. That means they're 2 of the 8 teams.
Yep.
Okay.
Right.
Just on that, just looking on that, I'm sitting here thinking Crest may even end up with a home game, depending on, because once they split them then, they're not going to split them after, they're just splitting them ADM numbers. They're not splitting them by 1s and 2s. So there could be 7 1s in the big 3A, and only one and all 2s in the small 2A. So you could be the state champion of the second place teams, depending on how they got it. So Dennis has got those split up, and so if that's the matchups, I could do that real quick. So Crest, if they lose, let's see. Does Statesville would get a 1, Westro and would be or Statesville. So one of those is a 1 and a 2. So Crest is a 1 and a 2 in that bracket. So you're even there. So loser of that may go to the other one. All right, AC Reynolds and JM Robinson, according to this, AC Reynolds would get a bid. JM Robinson would be second in their conference. Okay, so there's a 1 and a 2. And then Catholic could get, let's see what it's got. It's got Catholic or Marvin Ridge in theirs. They don't have, Weddington is the automatic qualifier for that. So Catholic's a 2 in that, and they might not even make the playoffs.
Yeah, or better yet,
that would be
Crest
great.
or Kings Mountain.
That'd be great.
Crest or Kings Mountain has a first round game against Catholic.
Yeah. Right. Yeah. So Weddington right now, so according to these, the ones in the big 3A, let's see, would be AC Reynolds. I'm going to find them on this magic list. They would be the champions of the Western Mountain 3A. JM Robinson. Now, Robinson, like I said, would be a 2 seed. AC Reynolds, Catholic would be a 2, or it's going to be Marvin Ridge. So that would be Catholic or Marvin Ridge on that one. Asheville, you said you've got there, Dennis. They are listed as the 3rd place bid. It could be either them or North Henderson. Now, here's what some conferences like the Southern Piedmont are getting 3 teams. 3. There's a lot of conferences that are getting 1.
Yeah.
So there's not. So when you talk about why in our conference getting a 3rd seed, hey guys, some teams ain't even getting 2. Yeah. So you can't really complain about that. Almost, Calvin. Let me make sure. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Statesville and West Rowan. So I'm trying to give you guys an idea of what it would be. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So if that in that breakdown, ironically, it would break in 4 1s and 4 2s.
Yep.
So there's lucky in the 3A. We haven't
no wild cards in that series.
Well, no, I said that wrong. No. There would be 3 1As. A 2A, either Robinson or Catholic would get a home game against Asheville, West Rowan, or Crest/Kings Mountain. So there it is. There's your
Scoop. There it is.
That's our fuzzy math, which might not line up with the state's fuzzy math. So we'll be back in a minute. KTCBroadcasting.com.
Since 1986, Witherspoon Insurance Agency in Shelby has been serving families across Shelby and Cleveland County. And today, Wayne Witherspoon continues the tradition of bringing you the best insurance at the best possible price. With names like The Hartford, Safeco, Progressive, National General, and Travelers. Drop by the office today at 125 North Lafayette Street in Shelby and talk with one of their friendly hometown agents. Witherspoon Insurance Agency, your independent insurance agency since 1986.
Since 1977, Shelby Heating and Air has been serving this area with the finest in Carrier heating and air conditioning products. Turn to the experts. Turn to Carrier and Shelby Heating and Air. Plus, they service all brands and are accredited A+. Visit their website at shelbyheating.com. Just call 704-487-7877 for Shelby Heating and Air, voted best heating and air conditioning in Cleveland County and a member of the Better Business Bureau.
Springtime, Charlotte, and if you hate to paint, do what your neighbor Greg did. He called Rhino Shield.
We live in a beautiful 2-story home that was built in 1916. Really been prepped and painted very, very poorly.
And Rhino Shield's not paint, it's better.
We really had a lot of detail work in the team at Rhino Shield. They spent really a full 4 days just on the prep work, and we were so excited to see that.
Charlotte, get the 25-year guaranteed protection of Rhino Shield for 15% off the regular price.
We've gotten numerous compliments, and we've actually even had some of the longer-term residents of our community thank us for protecting the integrity of our home.
Here's owner Dan Hoey.
This offer is limited, so call us today at 704-597-4141 or visit us online at rhinoshieldcarolina.com. Don't paint.
Don't vinyl. Go Rhino.
Don't vinyl. Go Rhino Shield. Never paint your house again. Rhino Shield.
Save the date. That's Friday, April 16th for the Giant Spring Open House event at Hojo Power Sports and Equipment in Shelby. There will be super specials on their full line of equipment. Take 15% off Shindawa trimmers, blowers, and chainsaws. Plus, the boss will be there broadcasting live from 10 a.m. to 2 p.m. with free hot dogs, chips, and soft drinks. Again, that's Friday, April 16th, the Spring Open House event at Hojo Power Sports and Equipment, 110 Grigg Street off South Lafayette Street in Shelby.
Now open the all-new BMC Toner Solutions. Now open at 410 East Franklin Boulevard in Gastonia. The new BMC Toner Solutions can save you up to 50% off retail on your printer ink cartridges. Extra large inkjets, just $12.99 for black and $14.99 for color. Just call 704-862-7333. They're open 9 to 5 Monday through Thursday, 9 to 2 on Friday, open every third Saturday from 9 to 2. The new BMC Toner Solutions, now open at 410 East Franklin Boulevard in Gastonia. Since 1986, Witherspoon Insurance Agency in Shelby has been serving families across Shelby and Cleveland County. And today, Wayne Witherspoon continues the tradition of bringing you the best insurance at the best possible price. With names like The Hartford, Safeco, Progressive, National General, and Travelers. Drop by the office today at 125 North Lafayette Street in Shelby and talk with one of their friendly hometown agents. Witherspoon Insurance Agency, your independent insurance agency since 1986.
You know what he looks like, right?
Hey, and welcome back to the Witherspoon post-game show.
Okay. Yeah, he'll be on the
We're trying to figure out some 2A playoff projections. We've got the magic pot over here. We're stirring it and see what's going on. I just gave Kevin a projected list of 2As. He's trying to figure out, how that's.
We might have to go over that in the post-game show. Probably. We've got a couple more.
Tune in Sports Saturday morning.
We've got a couple of things to talk about in the pregame show. 70 by my count, my remembrance from last year, and this could be totally wrong because Terry forgot to write it down this weekend. I'm blaming him. 37-35, and I think maybe 1 and 2 ties. The Battle of the Belt, the biggest little rivalry in North Carolina, is tonight. Bessemer City and Cherryville, at Cherryville or Cherryville, wherever you're from.
Yeah, Cherryville.
And
I'm going with Cherryville. I don't care.
So the easiest thing to do is say chair, and then Vull or Ville.
Cherryville.
There you go.
Cherryville.
So that's tonight. Like we've talked about all year, Bessemer's been down. Cherryville at home tonight. The two teams come in to the game combined with 2 wins. Cherryville beat Highland Tech and Bessemer beat Union Academy. So tonight it's all about that belt and the rivalry. Won't be going to the playoffs, but should be a big game for either one of them. If Bessemer wins with 16 players in this rivalry game, these kids in the school will remember that one for years to come.
While I will say I would be happy for the Yellow Jackets, just based, not on emotion but on logic, I'd have to go with Cherryville because they have, as under Kevin Hastings' rules, they have the larger roster.
Yeah, they do, and I think they've had a better, more complete season, even though they have the most
they've been in some
records.
games.
Yeah, they've played some little better competition. I just think didn't they play Chase? Didn't Cherryville play Chase this year? So
first game.
Yeah. So I think, I think Cherryville. I think it'd be close. I got it winning by 1. I think it'd be 24-23. Cherryville over Bessemer.
Well, while I respect the young men down at Bessemer City for not throwing in the towel, showing up and playing hard, and this is a big rivalry game, I'm sure there's plaques on both the Cherryville and the Bessemer City locker room walls in support of Kevin Hastings' contributions there.
Yeah.
It's
now, technically, yes. In the Bessemer locker rooms, they never took it down because you used to get to put your decal on it and sign it, and you put them on the walls there. But I don't know if the janitors or somebody made them take that down a long time ago.
I didn't mention
that's what we used to do. There was a spot you could sign your names and everything every year. But
I didn't mention these were hanging right above the urinals, but
that's about where they were. You're right.
Meanwhile,
they're in the locker room. That's where
that's
they were.
in the locker room. That's more than I got, Kevin. I'll give you credit.
Now, my name for that trophy right there, it should be next to Kevin Millwood's name, but they quit making the names on the end of the plaques.
Oh, really?
And I keep you know how many times every time I see Larry or someone over, I'm like, so y'all need me to donate money to some plaque updates over there? Because you do the years, so 91, 92, 93,
right.
and our years matched up right beside each other, so it'd say Kevin Millwood, Kevin Hastings. So I'm like, let's get that one updated, boys. But anyway, these two teams know each other extremely well.
Yes.
Coach Pruitt used to coach over there, and vice versa. Keith Fox is down in Cherryville.
The kids know one another.
Everybody knows for the most part. So it should be a good rivalry game, a good night in Cherryville, and just hope for safety for everybody. Both teams obviously getting ready for baseball coming up as well.
And both are great baseball programs.
Yes, and Mason, like I said, he put up a thing the other day, and got a little fuss over there, and I kind of wanted to mention trying to raise a little money in the school. Right now Larry Boone's doing 3 jobs. He's got as far as cutting fields and take care of fields as well. So with the passing of Calvin Albright over there, he had a lawnmower business. That was part of his job over there. He helped cut the field. So now Larry's over there doing softball field, baseball, and the football field all at the same time right now. Plus working in the school and coaching.
Plus he has a business,
coaching the football game, right? So
business on the side.
Does he sell hot dogs at halftime?
Right, and so right now everyone's stretched thin over there. They've updated. The biggest thing is money on the field. You can paint stuff and get people to donate that. And you guys know, especially in baseball, is taking care of the fields, like when to put extra dirt down, when to not. All that is extremely expensive. So. That's been an issue. But one thing Chris was making point is that no matter how much money you put into it, if the person you give the money to don't take care of / respect it the way, and what he was making the point of is as players, we used to have to sweep the field and take care of the field. And what I mean by that, I'm at shortstop. So during every practice, if we hit during the day and during school and during every game and everything, after every one of those, you had to go to your position and sweep all the dirt off the grass.
Yeah.
We edged the grass ourselves. That's your position. You go there. So the third baseman took care of third. He had to rake his position and then do the grass. The grass thing took forever. If you see any dirt in the grass, that's laps. So, coach would inspect after the game. So you're out there with brooms. Every one of us has push brooms getting all the dirt off the mound, off the grass, back on the mound, off the grass, back at home plate. And it's just nonstop. And when, like we said earlier, you get people coming from outside and might not care that much, or the players don't care. It's a players thing too. Football guys, they don't really take care of the field. But as far as baseball, and it's a different thing. And so that's one of the issues that we talked about going down there. And then the numbers, maybe they'll get everything going by next year and rocking. So as far as winning tonight, they got a chance. I'll say that. I don't know if they can. 16, 17 players.
Yeah.
Oh, because the numbers, I'm going with Cherryville. Coach Pruitt's done a good job over there. They've had a tough year as well.
Well, if anything, Pruitt's prepared for their offense and stuff.
Yeah.
So it's not like they're going against a team they might surprise. And that's what you hope for when you got. So they got to win the turnover battle, and I don't know, trick play or something. They might have to tonight because Coach Pruitt knows them like the back of his hand.
Well, tune in to the post-game show when we'll tell you how that turns out.
All right, guys. So let me give the schedule for the rest of the night.
Yep.
For you guys listening on the radio on WOHS and WLN, we're about to send you out to the stadiums. North Lincoln. Bandy's is at North Lincoln. And we about had a panic a minute ago. Thought everybody was at the wrong stadiums.
Surely not. Who's in charge of that?
That was Shannon's fault.
Shannon.
Shannon's got me calling people at the
Aldridge.
beach.
That was
all right. So it is Max Prep's fault. They're fault for everything.
In California.
I know, right?
So that's like the high school people that do broadcasts. They were, advertising, tune in tonight, get East Rutherford and Shelby game.
Yeah, that's right.
Duh.
All right. So anyway, the here's my schedule tonight. All right. So Matt Chapman and Logan Baker are out at North Lincoln tonight. Do Bandy's at North Lincoln on WLON 1050 AM 107.5 FM. Peyton Warlick's doing the Twitter. Burns is at RS Central. Tom Cinefani, Jeff Jones on the call. Matt Royster is on the Twitter.
Tune in.
Bessemer City and Cherryville kick off in 2 minutes on WCSL 1590 AM 92.3 FM with Tim Johnson, Danny Aker. Brian Nichols is on that Twitter. And then other Twitters tonight, we've got Rob Roop and Tanner Halbert. We'll get Twitters and live updates. We'll get Twitters of that after it. We'll tweet the scores out as they go. Rob's going to call in and give us scores. Newton Conover at East Lincoln will be Jason Sane on the Twitter. And then from 7 to 9, folks, we got Red Zone Channel with myself, Dennis Davis, and Andre Bush. And then we've got post-game show tonight, the Full Throttle Power Sports post-game show, Kevin Hastings, Dennis Davis. Will Boykins may call in if he gets off in time to quit selling cars. And then we'll have all kinds of fun, highlights, and more tonight. Calvin, you ready in there? All right, we're going to send it back into the studios. That's it online for right now. We'll be back at 7 o'clock for the Red Zone Channel. For you folks that don't know what that is, Red Zone Channel, we'll do highlights, live scores, and talk about the games during the games and give you guys updates on KTC Broadcasting YouTube. Same channel on YouTube if you're watching right now, but 7 o'clock, 7 to 9, Red Zone with KTC Broadcasting. For Dennis Davis, Shannon Allen, I'm Kevin Hastings. Thank you guys for tuning in on KTCBroadcasting.com.
Since 1986, Witherspoon Insurance Agency in Shelby has been serving families across Shelby and Cleveland County. And today, Wayne Witherspoon continues the tradition of bringing you the best insurance at the best possible price. With names like The Hartford, Safeco, Progressive, National General, and Travelers. Drop by the office today at 125 North Lafayette Street in Shelby and talk with one of their friendly hometown agents. Witherspoon Insurance Agency, your independent insurance agency since 1986.
This day and time, you need to be concerned about your health, and Hopper Heated and Air in Shelby can help. Talk with them about phenomenal air-cold plasma generator technology. It cleans the air naturally and can eliminate 99% of COVID. Also virus, bacteria, mold, pollen, dust, dander, and odors, including smoke odors. And it's time for your preseason checkup. Book your service online for just $55. Or mention the Facebook page or WhatsAppShopper.com and get it for just $45. or visit the website at hopperhvac.com. Hopper Heated and Air in Shelby. It's third down, 22 yards to go. Now, that's a tough situation for any team, and not having your taxes done properly is a problem for you. That's when you call on Kimberly Spicer, CPA and Public Attorney. She has the team that you can count on. She can assist you with your small business and your tax preparations. In Shelby, call 704-482-4358, and in Forest City, dial 828-245-8351. Kimberly Spicer, CPA and Attorney. 214 North Morgan Street in Shelby, and at 1-8. Full Throttle Power Sports in Gastonia has just gotten a whole lot bigger, and we mean a whole lot bigger. They have just purchased MS Power Sports in Gastonia and are now your dealer for Honda, Suzuki, and Kawasaki, along with CF Moto, Yamaha, and Polaris. Golf carts too. One big dealer under one big roof, plus a complete parts and service department. That's Full Throttle Power Sports, 101 Indian Walk of I-85 in Lowell. Online at ncfullthrottle.com and see their page at whatsupshopper.com. It's third down, 22 yards to go. Now, that's a tough situation for any team, and not having your taxes done properly is a problem for you. That's when you call on Kimberly Spicer, CPA and Public Attorney. She has the team that you can count on. She can assist you with your small business and your tax preparations. In Shelby, call 704-482-4358, and in Forest City, dial 828-245-8351. Kimberly Spicer, CPA and Attorney. 214 North Morgan Street in Shelby, and at 118 West Main Street in Forest City. Full Throttle Power Sports.
Proud to be live and local.
Just in touch with what's going on.
The Boss, 101.5 FM, 1390 AM, WOHS, Shelby.
Good evening. The chance for showers and thunderstorms will continue late tonight. Low temperatures only dip into the upper 50s to lower 60s tonight. Partly sunny, hot, and humid Saturday. Highs range from 76 to 81 degrees. Scattered showers and thunderstorms, even a better chance, mainly late tomorrow. Sunday, partly sunny with a small chance of a shower or storm. High temperatures range from 75 to 79 degrees. I'm meteorologist Kat Campbell in the Weather Center.
Currently from the KTC Broadcasting Studios, it's 6:34, and the temperature is 78 degrees.
What's next?
Code 12, flickering lights.
What if it's a ghost this time? Please enter. Definitely a ghost.
I've seen malarkey like this before. Classic bad wiring.
We got this. Thank you.
See, Pete, no ghosts.
Oh no, this place is totally haunted.
See, Jane? You don't have to put up with any malarkey. Call 888-8-SPARKY.
Celebrating lives and healing grieving hearts. That's the theme of the Stamey Tysinger Funeral Home and Cremation Center in Falston, and the Stamey Cherryville Funeral Home on Dixie Street in Cherryville.